Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my Southern kitchen. My name is Ellen. Are y'all a big fan of cornbread like I am? Well, I got a treat for y'all. Today's recipe, I'm going to share with y'all some cornbread muffins from scratch. But these ain't your ordinary cornbread muffins. We're going to put fresh corn in it. That's right, sugar. Fresh corn. And my friends, it is so simple and easy to make. TheBomb.com delicious. And we're going to make a brown sugar cardamom butter to go along with them. How yummy does that sound? Everybody's going to love and enjoy these. Great to serve with your gumbo, chili, red beans and rice, fried chicken, collard greens, also ham on Easter Sunday. These will be calling your name. And I'll post a complete recipe along with the instructions down in the description box below. And for more cornbread recipes, check out my cornbread recipes playlist. Also check out my previous video, Southern Banana Pudding. I'll post a link to that down in the description box below. So grab your muffin pan, your cornmeal, and your corn on the cob sugar, because we're about to bake some fresh cornbread muffins magic in my Southern kitchen. Here we go! Alright, my friends, the first step we're going to do is prep our corn. On my cutting board, I have 3 fresh ears of corn. Aren't they pretty and golden? And I rinsed them. So now we're going to cut the nibblers off and keep your fingers out the way. You can also cut them downwards. Just like that. Alright, as soon as I get through cutting the rest of my corn nibblers, I'll bring you back. Alright, my friends, I'm through cutting my corn nibblers, and off camera, I put them into my bowl. Now we're going to set it aside. Time to make the cornbread muffins. Let's start with the dry ingredients. In my large bowl, I have 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I already pre-measured it, but I just want to show you how to get the perfect cup. Going to fluff it up. And using my butter knife, going to level it off. Voila, perfect cup. And into our flour, we're going to add in 1.5 cups of yellow cornmeal. All right, that's 1 cup. And 1/2 cup. Next, we're going to add in 2/3 of a cup of white sugar to give our corn muffins a little sweetness. And our leavenings, 1.5 teaspoons each of baking powder and table salt, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Give them a quick whisk until they're well incorporated. Okie dokie, dry ingredients are done. Now we're going to set these aside while we work on the wet ingredients. In my measuring cup, I have 1 cup of buttermilk at room temperature. You can use homemade or store-bought. I'll put the complete recipe to my homemade buttermilk down in the description box below. And into our buttermilk, we're going to add in 1/2 cup, which is 1 stick or 8 tablespoons of unsalted butter that I melted and cooled. Next, we're going to add in 1/4 cup of canola oil, or you can use vegetable oil. 2 extra large eggs at room temperature. And here's the ingredient that's going to take it to the next level. 1/4 cup of sour cream at room temperature. My friends, this is going to change the game of the cornbread muffins. Going to make it moist and fabulous. So please don't skip this step. And use full fat sour cream. Give it a whisk until it's well blended. You can also mix these in the bowl. Alright, wet ingredients are done. Now we're going to pour them into the dry ingredients. And whisk until they're well combined. Be careful not to overmix. We want soft and moist cornbread muffins. We don't want to see any streaks of flour and cornmeal. Alright, my friends, now there's one more ingredient we gotta add to it. Our fresh corn niblets. And fold those in. And our cornbread batter is complete. How simple and easy was that? And the corn nibblers is going to give it a great texture. Now we're going to let the batter rest for 10 minutes. Alright my friends, it's been 10 minutes. Look how nice and fluffy our batter is. Perfect. Going to make them nice and tender. Now we are ready to pour them into our muffin pan. We're going to pour them into a 12-cup muffin pan, and I sprayed the pan generously with baking spray, or you can grease them with butter. So we're going to take an ice cream scoop, or you can use a fourth of a cup measurement. We're going to take a dollop of the batter, like so, and just scoop it into the muffin cup. Alright, as soon as I get through with the rest of my muffins, I'll bring you back. Alright my friends, I've got all my batter into my muffin pan, and this recipe makes about 24 muffins. Now we are ready to put them in the oven. Oven's preheated to 400 degrees, and make sure you adjust the oven rack to the middle position. We're going to let them bake for about 20 minutes until they're golden brown, and while they're baking, let's make our brown sugar cardamom butter. In my medium bowl, I have a half a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. Again, that's 1 stick or 8 tablespoons. And into our butter, we're going to add in a fourth of a cup of packed light brown sugar. And last but not least, a half a teaspoon of table salt and 3/4 of a teaspoon of ground cardamom. Stir until it's well combined. Alright my friends, our butter is done. See how whipped and smooth that is? That looks great. Love the smell of cardamom. These are going to be fantastic with the cornbread muffins. Let's go check on them. My friends, look at here at these corn muffins. See how nice and golden brown they are? Has a nice crust on top. And it smells heavenly up in this kitchen. So now we're going to let them cool in the pan for about 5 minutes. Alright my friends, it's been 5 minutes. Now we're going to remove the corn muffins from the pan and place them onto the wire rack. Came out nicely, nothing like that baking spray. Now we're going to let them cool for 15 minutes and then they're ready to serve. Alright my friends, there you have it. Fresh cornbread muffins. Don't that look good? So now I'm about to fix me up a plate and then we'll give it a taste. Alright my friends, I've got my plate right here. And before we taste it, I want to show y'all the inside. So I'm going to cut it in half. Look at the corn nibblers inside. Gorgeous crumb. So now I'm going to spread one side with the brown sugar cardamom butter. I'm going to taste one half with the butter and the other half without. Now it's time for the best part, the tasting. Here we go. Look at that. Nice and golden brown on the bottom. Please have a bite. Oh, it just melts in your mouth. And I love the texture from the corn niblets. Super buttery and tasty. Now let's taste the other half with the brown sugar cardamom butter. Has a nice little sweetness to it. And the cardamom gave it a nice little kick. Awesome combination. These cornbread muffins are phenomenal, my friends. Please give this recipe a try. This deserves another bite. Yum-o. Cornbread muffins, licious. My friends, many thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video recipe, please give it a thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And for more Southern magic in my kitchen, hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so that way you'll be notified when my new videos come out. Also, follow me on social media, Facebook, Ellen's Homemade Delights, and Instagram at Ellen Delights. And please send me an email, ellenshomemade@gmail.com. I would love to see your beautiful creations with my recipes. And I'll see you next time. Let's eat and much love.